This is the third and final part of my Build a Coding Agent from Scratch series. And in part 2, we had sort of left off with moving away from a one-shot prompt into a multi-shot prompt so we could continue to refine the code once we observe whatever the LLM gave us. All right, and then what we were left to do was let the agent run the code and see if it runs it error-free, and if it doesn't run it error-free, see if the agent can fix the code. All right, so that's what we're left to add. And we have done so far with about, we'll just call it 75 lines of code, no problem. And then to move to that seemingly simple idea of, oh, let's let the agent run the code and then fix it, it's fairly complicated. All right, and even though it's sort of complicated, we're still going to do it in about 150 lines of code. And then we're going to have something that works pretty well, but probably wants some revision. All right, so I'm going to make all of this code available in a GitHub repository, and you'll be able to find that in the video description. All right, and then rather than me writing all that code to move from 75 lines to about 150, I've already done it, and I'm just going to talk about what's changed in this final version. All right, so the main thing that we added here was we imported this package from the standard library, subprocess, and this is what's going to let us run the code. All right, so it accesses the operating system, it's going to run code at the command line, and we're going to be able to capture output, and we're going to be able to capture errors. All right, and this is the main meat of a client that's actually kind of useful for writing code, or an agent that's useful for writing code. Okay, all right, so I imported subprocess, and then I don't want to get stuck in an infinite loop here, so I just said, okay, try to fix it 3 times, and if it can't fix it within 3 times, right, we have to get the human in the loop there, and then, okay, generate prompt, no change there. The first change here is I have this new function fix prompt, and so this is assuming that I have an error. We're going to pass in the code that's generating the error, and then also we've somehow captured the error message, and then we're asking the LLM to go ahead and try to figure out what the fix is for this. All right, so a new prompt for doing that. All right, call model is unchanged. Here's where we're going to use subprocess to actually try to run code that gets generated. All right, so the workflow is run the file, give it a prompt, and then it generates the code, and it's going to try to run it. And if it runs error-free, it's just going to ask, what else do you want to add? Otherwise, it's going to try to fix it. And if it can fix it, eventually it asks you, okay, what else do you want to add? Otherwise, it says, well, we couldn't fix it. And, right, probably you have to intervene with a person. Okay? All right, so this is the logic for actually running the code. And then basic errors, it might be a syntax error. Maybe it forgot a parentheses or something like that. It seems unlikely. But, if a person has interacted with the code in between sessions with the agent, that might be a problem, right? So it should be able to handle something like that. If I have asked for something to be done with a package that is not in my environment, that's pretty basic. It should be able to install that, all right? And then kind of some helper functions here to help us identify those errors and then pass them in to another function when appropriate. All right, and then I slightly changed the way and where we generate our file. So rather than doing it right at the end of the main loop here, we have a new function here so that we can interact with all these new pieces and parts. Okay, and then this is the loop that tries to fix the code once it sees an error. Okay, and then there's the message for when it fails to fix your code. Okay, so all that, a little bit more than 150 lines of code, right? But there's some spaces in here, right? All right, so let's see if I can make it not work first. All right, so let me try to run this. And all right, so let's see if I can make it fail to fix the code. So All right, so it worked a little better than I expected. I expected that since I was pretty vague with the prompt, that the code wouldn't actually output the loan amount. All right, so as a attempt at failure, I guess that was a failure. It worked, and now it's asking, do I want to modify anything? And I'll just exit out of there. A failed failure, maybe better than I anticipated. Made the file. Let's just take a quick look at the file. Pretty basic. All right. So we can imagine this not really being a usable program at the highest level here. It hasn't done a good job with naming variables, and it has given us the absolute minimum we need to do exactly what I told it to do in the prompt. And some of that is based on the initial prompt I give it, where I say, okay, don't give me any extra code or anything like that. I could probably modify that so that we get more Pythonic variable naming. All right, let's try it with something a little bit different, and we will try to make it fail this time and give it something that it should be able to fix when it fails, like a missing package. All right, so we want to, let's calculate the return. All right, and then here's the API that I don't have. All right, so we can see that right away it failed. All right, I'm pretty happy with the speed at which we're getting these code outputs. Again, the code is very bare bones, so we probably want to modify bits and pieces here. I'm going to leave it as is. All right, and you can see that, okay, once it installed yfinance, everything works just fine. All right, but we can easily see that, okay, that's great. Over the last 10 years, I guess it returned something like, 900%. All right, and then, well, maybe we want to see what this looks like year by year. Get if I do that. Okay, so pretty good. And then maybe we just want the year part. We don't need the timestamp. Let's see what. Okay, all right, so much better. All right, so we can, again, the code is pretty basic. All right, but as a starting place, we only asked it to do something pretty basic. And okay, it seems to be able to handle this. And then I don't have to write the code, and it at least gives me something to start with. And then you get to see what is involved in making a coding agent. All right, so this does everything a coding agent would do. It's maybe not quite as sophisticated as, say, Claude Code or Codex or any of those, but at least now you know, okay, basically what you would need to do it on your own. All right, let's get out of there. We end up with our new file. Let's see, Google return. All right, so cool. So we have two, actually. Okay, and I guess there's one side here, because the way we've done this, every time I start adding code and it works, it's a new file name. So I probably, that's one of the first things I'd modify is, okay, I don't want all these files laying around. But on the other hand, maybe you do want all these files laying around so that at these intermediate stages, you can sort of see how your code progresses. Let's see what this one looks like. All right, so actually, again, you'd be hard-pressed to do this in fewer lines of code than that, and it does more or less exactly what we expect. All right, the only thing you might complain about is using pandas here, and I didn't import pandas or anything like that, but yfinance doesn't have a problem because it's actually a wrapper around pandas. All right, but from a Python standpoint, if we're using pandas methods, we probably want to import pandas and do it a little bit more explicitly. All right, so that's our coding agent. And like I said, I'll make the code all available. I'll break it out by the stages we were at, and I hope that helps.